Hey y'all, this is Judith of judithtomorrow.com, Judith Tomorrow Design, where we design transformative office spaces, workspaces. And last week we talked about what a transformative space is and how it affects us. Basically, it helps us ground and center, and it helps us bring in clarity about the work that we're doing. And this week we are going to be talking about a practice that I use to teach ourselves awareness of when a space is intact, when it's whole, when it has the quality of numinousness or sacredness, and when it is holding us fully, allowing us to expand. So the importance of this, of course, is that when we're doing a business, or if we're creating something new or bringing something new into our world, having an environment that does this, that holds us deeply, that holds our energy, that holds the energy of what we are creating, can be invaluable. What this practice does, that I'm going to teach you, is it teaches us the awareness of when a space is feeling whole and when it's feeling fragmented or ungrounded or disconnected or suppressed or constricted. So the essence of this is that our body is very conscious of when our environment is spacious and whole and intact. I gave you last week some examples of walking in the woods, for example, or sacred spaces that you might have been, and other places within your home that could have been that are numinous or feel bigger than they are. And this practice, you can, when you teach yourself a bodily awareness of when space is whole and when it's not, then the next step is that you begin to be able to make adjustments to the space so that it is more whole. And we'll be talking about that in the next video. So first, this video, which is the awareness in the body of when the space or the environment is whole. And how I use this is in my own environments, but also when I'm working with clients. I can tell by the way their energy field is reacting to an environment. That gives me the indicator of where in their space something is blocked or something is constricted. All right. So this is the essence of it. It's called the directional meditation or the directional practice. I also sometimes call it the up, down, in, out practice, maybe not in that order. Each of these parts, there are 4 parts. Each of them can be done separately, but I'm going to take you through the whole thing all together so that you get the whole shebang at the same time, right? So begin first by taking 2 or 3 very deep breaths just to get settled in here and be in a comfortable place where you can feel the chair under your butt and that sort of a thing. So here we go. 3 breaths. All right. So the first direction we're going to do is in. And the way that I imagine it for myself is, if you imagine that we have all these tendrils going out all the time, relationships, ideas, thoughts, things that we're supposed to be doing, things that we think we're supposed to be doing, those are all little rivulets of energy that are going out into the world, right? And the in part of the direction, no meditation, is letting those go, bringing them in. basically. So dropping the things that you're holding on to out there. If there are things that are holding on to you, letting them let go of you, so there's not that connection, pulling or poking or pushing. And so the way that I imagine it is just this simplification of the skin, so to speak. There's nothing attached to the skin. There's nothing coming out of the skin. It's just sort of this soft buffer or boundary or soothing of the skin as you let everything go and everything return to you and complete itself. So 3 big breaths, thinking about that, thinking about bringing tendrils in or letting things go, letting things drop, letting things let go of you. Here we go. All right, perfect. So the second one, which is also one of my favorites, is the down direction. So down is about support. It's letting things just settle where they naturally fall. It means that you let the ground fully support you. A lot of the times when we walk into an environment and we're not feeling safe, or we're not feeling grounded, you'll actually notice that you're lifting yourself up. You're not actually letting the seat, the chair, the ground, the floor, everything be there, support you securely, knowing it's not going to move, knowing that you don't have to work extra hard. You can even feel it. I often feel it in my core muscles, that I'll be holding myself up or holding myself in a little bit, or I'll have my shoulders up. These are all indicators that you're not fully letting yourself be down. If you think about it, I tell myself this, it's like when I'm holding my arms up. If I let my arms relax, they are actually not going to fall off my body. They are very securely attached to my body. There's nowhere they're going. So that's sort of the attitude that you have. It's like there is nowhere else that I'm going except down. And I can let my weight fully be held by whatever is underneath me and what is around me. So that is the image that I bring to my mind when I'm doing this. You can also imagine yourself getting heavier and heavier. You can feel the contact your butt is making with whatever seat, your feet are making with whatever floor, that sort of a thing. You can really imagine all of your energy just relaxing straight down into the middle of the earth as well. That's the supreme support. So 3 breaths, thinking about being fully supported, thinking about letting your weight be fully held. Here we go. Perfect. Thank you. So that's a wonderful thing to do at bedtime, by the way, as well. It helps you relax very much. So the next part that we do is out. And I actually find that it's pretty helpful to do in and down before you do out. I think a lot of people become fragmented, which is the shadow side of out, when they have not gone in and down first. So in and down are really good ways to begin the day. It means that you're all together. You know, it's like all your parts are back inside of you and you're feeling fully supported before you go out into the world and extend yourself. The positive side, the benefit, the beautifulness of out is expansion, basically. Expansion also means sort of this bigger connection and engagement with the world around you. It's the way that sometimes we have relationships. It's the way that we expand and fully take up space in our environment. It is an essence. When we can do that, we are very, very relaxed and confident. When we are not able to expand out, if we're ungrounded, we tend to fragment. So sometimes, even if I'm grounded and centered, I might not be in the mental state for whatever reason to actually expand out. That's me in particular, and probably very many other people as well. And I respect that. So there are days where I can expand out more than other days. And that's important to honor how far out you're going at any given point. So the way that I imagine out is sort of an unfurling of my space. Sometimes I imagine it as this beautiful robe, like a queen or a king's robe, how it sort of cascades off the body, rolls onto the floor, and expands. If you've ever seen those wonderful pictures of people with royal trains and their material is spread in this opulent ring around them. They are taking up space, some serious floor space with this. That's it going down, but you can also imagine it in many, many layers, just like a bird unfurling all of its feathers. So it's like down and out, up, more out, up, more out, and that's sort of expansion around. The interesting thing about out is it's one of the most revealing aspects of space, because you may find that when you're expanding out and trying it in different environments, that you can expand out perfectly well in this direction, but not in this direction. And sometimes that's related to the physical environment that is right next to you in this direction versus this direction. And that's a really important thing to start becoming aware of. So we're going to do the out direction, so this unfurling, expansion, or whatever image comes to your mind of expansion and being open. We're going to do 3 breaths thinking about that. Okay, and here we go. Perfect. All right. And the last one is the up direction. Up is a lot about connection to source. It's connection to divine understanding. It tends to be the place via which we receive information. If we don't have our up going on, we can be shut down. We can be functioning automatically. We can be functioning based on all sorts of shoulds. I experience the up process as this sort of almost wonderful shower for my brain. You know, it's like it gets air in there when everything's kind of like bunched up in a knot, right? So up helps us sort of have this higher connection to source, divine information, higher self, divine guidance, our highest self, however you want to conceptualize that. It helps us have clarity about what our purpose is in the world, what we're doing here, what we love, who we are, all that sort of stuff. Because a lot of the time it gets clogged up with all this like rattly shoulds, right, inside of your brain. So I very simply just imagine a connection going up to light and sort of this release upwards. It's also very helpful to have grounded before this. Again, you can become ungrounded unless you've gone through the inward and the downward process as well. A lot of the time I will also feel my third eye getting pretty activated. So sometimes I end up kind of rubbing it a little bit and fluffing things up that way. All of those things can help. So you can also imagine your energy, whether you conceptualize it as light or some other way. I tend to be very, I feel things in my field and in my body. So I just feel that energy, that connection between myself and the sky. Those are all good ways of understanding it. Another good way of imagining it is like unclamping your head, just taking the weird little hat off, right? So here we go. 3 breaths thinking about that. Perfect. All right, thank you. So do this regularly. What is revealing, what will be the most revealing, is when you take it into different environments. And start with an environment that is very safe to you. It sort of establishes a baseline. It could be your bed, it could be a favorite chair, it could be your office if that feels safe and solid. Some place that you tend to naturally gravitate, where where you go when you're feeling like you need to feel cared for. That's another good way to figure it out. Start in those spaces, that kind of space. And that sets a baseline for you to really sort of understand, your natural default patterns. You may naturally always be a little ungrounded, or you may naturally always be a little shut down, which is not a negative thing. It's just noticing, right? And then once you've done that maybe 3, 4, even 5 times within that environment, start taking it into other environments that you may not feel as fully settled in, or that fully fit you as well. So, and at different times. Sometimes you feel fully fitting into a place in the morning, but not in the evening. What's the difference? Why has that changed? Sometimes it's because your family's home, right? So take it into a different environment in your house and notice the differences. Notice the differences in how grounded you are, whether you're lifting yourself up, whether you're pulling yourself in, whether you're fragmenting, whether you're closing yourself down, or how expanded or how grounded. Or are you grounding on the left side and not on the right side? You can get real specific about that. After a while of doing that, then start to take it out into public places or before certain events. So you could take it into a coffee shop. I feel very comfortable working in coffee shops, and so it's very interesting to notice where I get really expansive in a coffee shop, right? before different events, like before a sales call, just notice, and it actually can be very settling to do it. After a sales call, before working with a client, after working with a client, just start to notice. And you won't actually, at some point, you won't actually have to go through the whole process, because your body will start teaching itself what that fully expanded space is for you. And so you'll just like check in. You'll be like walking down the street and go, whoa, I seem to be like all over the place, jittery. What is going on? It's like, oh, I need to pull in, or I need to ground first, because right now I'm out, but I'm not grounded and pulled in. So you just start checking in with all of those directions. You know, can I go up? Can I go out? Can I go in? Can I go down? And then just start becoming aware of how your body is interacting in different environments. So in the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about noticing what physical objects are the ones that you feel most expansive around, and the ones that you feel constricted around. And that's going to be the beginning of how you start creating space where you feel expansive. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And I will put links down below in the comments. I'll give you a link to the next, the previous video and the next video, so that you can find everything around. And if you're interested in receiving these to your mailbox, sign up for my newsletter, which will be down below. And if you're interested in just being part of my YouTube channel, subscribe wherever that button is. All right. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.